Good morning friends. In this video I am going to talk about the historical background of the formation of Constitution of India. In previous video we have talked about the syllabus of Indian polity for prelims as well as mains. Now we are proceeding towards the topic Constitution. But before discussing about the Constitution, let us understand the historical background of formation of Indian Constitution. In your minds, there's a very big question arises. The question is why made Constitution? So let us talk about why Indian Constitution was made. So let us understand this topic with the help of a story. And that story start in 1917 and it is going to lead towards the formation of the Constituent Assembly. Now the story start with the date of 20th August 1917. Now what happens on this date? Edwin Montagu. Now who was this person? Edwin Montagu. Edwin Montagu was the Secretary of State for India. Now he went to the British Parliament, and when he went to the British Parliament he declared something. Now what he declared? He declared some positive aspects towards the formation of Indian Constitution. He proposed a very good thing. The first thing is that this declaration proposed the increased participation of Indians in the administration. India is going to be sovereign soon. India is going to be independent soon. So before this independent country, India is going to be independent country. Before this, now what do we have to do? We have to increase the number of Indians in the administration so that these Indians will be familiar how the British administration is working. Once they are familiar with the British administration, later on when their own government form na, so they will feel comfortable how this administration is working. First thing, positive change. Now second thing, Edwin Montagu suggests that development of self-governing institution in India. Very good. What is the meaning of self-governing government or self-governing institution? Basically Edwin Sahab is talking about the responsible government. What is the meaning of self-government? Self-government is nothing but the responsible government. I am going to discuss this. Now before that, this declaration is also known as Montagu Declaration. Why? Because it was proposed by the Edwin Montagu. First thing. Second thing, it asked so many times in state PCS that this declaration is also called by the name of August Declaration. Remember my dear friend, this is August Declaration, not the August Offer. Not the August Offer. I will tell you later what do you mean by August Offer, but this is not a August Offer. It was August Declaration. Clear? Now up to here you do not have any doubt. Now you might be thinking about, sir, can you tell me what is the meaning of self-governing government? Self-governing government or self-government, basically it is a responsible government. For example, you can see the photograph of Modi Sahab. Currently Modi Sahab is the Prime Minister. So is the government of Modi Sahab is a responsible government? Yes. Sir, what about Manmohan Singh? Yes, Manmohan Singh government was also a responsible government. Pandit Nehru Sahab government was also a responsible government. Madam Indira Gandhi government was also a responsible government. What is the meaning of responsible government? Let us first understand. Modi Sahab became the Prime Minister in 2014 general election or 2014 Lok Sabha election. Have you voted Modi Sahab for the post of Prime Minister? No, because there is a no election for the post of Prime Minister. There is a no election. Modi Sahab contested the election from one constituency. Now you voted Modi Sahab for Member of Parliament. So Modi Sahab become the Member of Parliament. Modi Sahab belongs to a political party known as BJP, and because BJP crosses the magic number of 272 plus, because BJP in 2014 they are having this magic number, means they are having a majority. So they told Modi Sahab is the face of our Prime Minister. This is the candidate for the post of the Prime Minister. So now Modi Sahab become the Prime Minister. Now who elected? We elected. We give the vote because political party cross this magic number, and because this magic number means they are having a majority, so Modi Sahab become the Prime Minister. Now suppose if you want to remove Modi Sahab, can you remove Modi Sahab? Yes, you can remove, because there is a process in the parliament with the help of one motion, and this motion is called by the name of no confidence motion. No confidence motion. Now you are having one doubt, sir, I am a common man. I am working in a company earning 10,000 rupees. How I can remove the Modi government? Yes, you can remove. How? Because there is always opposition, and it may be possible there are some member of parliaments in BJP, they don't like Modi Sahab because of the policy made by the BJP government. So what can happen? Opposition can, because BJP will never want that they are going to bring this no confidence motion in the house. Who is going to bring this no confidence motion? It is the opposition. Suppose opposition bring this no confidence motion, and suppose there are some members who are still in the BJP but they don't like the Modi Sahab. So what will happen? They are going to vote against the Modi Sahab. So once this no confidence motion is passed, Modi Sahab has to resign, or entire cabinet has to resign. That I will teach you in a separate topic. So what is the meaning of responsible government? Responsible government means the government can be removed at any point of time. This is the meaning of responsible government. So Britishers were talking about that we are going to increase the number of Indians in the administration, as well as we are giving you the concept of the self-government. I think these 2 points which I discussed in the previous slide, these 2 points are now clear, and the all static questions are also cleared. Clear? Now, in 1917, India was a British colony. Now in 2024, Modi Sahab and his cabinet are taking the decisions. They are bringing some bills in the parliament, passed in the parliament, and that bill becomes the law or act. But what happens in 1917? 1917, the executive actions are done by the Viceroy, plus his executive council and his executive council. So these peoples are taking the executive decisions. But now, according to Montagu Declaration, they are talking about the self-government. They are talking about the elected government. As I already told you, Modi Sahab government was a elected government. Manmohan Singh sir was a government, also a elected government. Means this elected government will be elected by the peoples. This will be elected by the peoples. Clear? So I hope there is a clear-cut demarcation. What happens in 1917? Viceroy and executive councils, they are taking the decisions. But now what is going to be happen in case of a self-government? In case of a self-government, people are going to elect their representative, and that representative is going to make the laws on behalf of you peoples. Up to here, I think clear? Now, let us talk about the another report which was combinedly given by Edwin Montagu, who was the Secretary of State for India, and Lord Chelmsford, who was the Governor General of India. They both give one report, and that report is very, very important because the title of the report was Constitutional Reforms in India. Constitutional Reforms in India. Now, because it was given by both the person, sometimes this report is also called by the name of Montagu-Chelmsford report. Agree? Why this report is important? For two important purpose. This report is having two important purpose. First, I told you it is talking about the constitutional reforms in India, because India is going to be sovereign soon, India is going to be republic soon, India is going to be independent country soon. Second thing, After that, there a very important act came into picture, that is the Government of India Act 1919. And my dear friend, this report was the basis. This report was the basis for the Government of India Act 1919. First, because of title, that is the constitutional reforms in India, and second, it was basis of the Government of India Act 1919. Clear? I think up to here you do not have any doubt. Now, Government of India Act came in 1919. Something positive happens first time. Why? Because I told you in my previous slide, the executive decisions are made by the Viceroy. Not alone the Viceroy, there is an Executive Council also. But in this Executive Council, previously there was no Indian. Later on, one post was reserved for the Indian, and according to this Act 1919, the numbers of Viceroy Executive Council increased from 1 to 3. So previously there was one Indian, and now, my dear friend, 3 Indians are the member of the Viceroy Executive Council. First important change. What is the second important change? There are some important committee. For example, if I am talking about the Finance Committee, now you are having one doubt, sir, what is the meaning of Finance Committee? Finance means which is related to the money. And now in this committee, Indians are becoming part of this committee. This is a positive change. Not only these two changes, so many positive changes. For example, now the members of Indian Legislative Council will be elected, and in fact, in 1920 election also happens. So this was the first positive change towards the formation of the Indian Constitution. Now after this, Britishers told, after 10 years, now if you add 10 years in this, so it will become 1929. So Britishers told, after 10 years we will bring one commission, and that commission is going to analyze what was the impact of Government of India Act 1919. So that commission should come in 1929, but Britishers were very clever. They bring one commission 2 years before. So 2 years before means in 1927 they bring one commission, and the name of the commission was Simon Commission. Everyone knows. Even you also know the Simon Commission, which came on November 1920. How many members are there? 7 members. And remember, my dear friend, all these 7 members are Britishers. That's why in your history, in social studies, you have studied about this Simon Commission. Go back. Why? Once you are talking about that India will having a self-government, and now you are bringing a commission in which there is no Indian. So go back. And why it is called by the name of Simon Commission? Because the chairman of this commission was Sir John Simon. So they published first report on May 1930. First report was published. Sometime in state pieces they asked this question. Now Indians were not happy. Why Indians were not happy? Because there was no Indian in this commission. So Britishers told, okay, you do one thing. If you want to make your report, your own report you can make. And let us discuss whose report is better. Your report is better or our report is better. Motilal Nehru framed one report commonly known as the Nehru report. And now we are having a two report. One report is the Simon Commission report and second is the Nehru report. And Britishers told, come to the Britain. roam in the Britain, enjoy in Britain. And now let us discuss all these things. Which one is better? We will do that. So they call the political party leaders, they call the political party representative come to the Britain, and now let us discuss about the report of the Simon Commissions. So it was discussed in 3 conference known as 3 round table conference, which actually happens between 1930 to 1932. Fine. So for discussion of this report, some Indians went to the Britain and they discussed about this. Now during this, there was one person known as M.N. Roy. So M.N. Roy Sahab in 1934 give one idea. What idea? India is going to be sovereign soon. India is going to be independent country soon. So this independent country, when the country is having the own constitution, before that there is a requirement of Constituent Assembly. So M.N. Roy Sahab was the first person in 1934 give idea about the formation of Constituent Assembly. This question has been asked in so many state PCS. So be ready with such type of questions. Now let us back to the 3 round table. As I told you, 3 round table conference. These round table conference happens in Britain, England. Now what was the result of this 3 round table conference? It resulted into the Government of India Act. Sir, what is Government of India Act? Something positive changes. Indians got voting rights. Yes, my dear friend, Indians got voting rights. Sir, all Indians got voting right? No, my dear friend, 10%. Around 10% Indians got voting rights. So many, for example, the British Indian provinces, there will be elections there in the British Indian provinces. Some positive changes happens. Right now, in 2024, whatever the constitution you are studying, many of the things were taken from the Government of India Act 1935, and it was basically the result of 3 round table. Clear? I think up to here you do not have any doubt. Apart from this, in 1935, Indian National Congress, what is INC? Indian National Congress, they officially demanded, what demand? Constituent Assembly, bhai. India is going to be independent soon. So my dear friend, there is a requirement of formation of Constituent Assembly officially. This is also a state PCS question. Not only this, in 1938, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru also demanded, commonly known as Nehru demand. And what was the demand? Nehru Sahab said on the behalf of Indian National Congress, India is going to be sovereign country soon, independent country soon. We are going to make our own constitution. So before that, we don't want any interference from the Britain. We don't want any Britishers to guide us or to tell us the Constituent Assembly will be full of the Indians. We don't want Britishers. And this demand was accepted, commonly known as August Offer. Which year, my dear friend? 1940. Why I write? Because already asking the examination. So Nehru demand was accepted. So the story start in 1917 and it is going towards the sovereign country of India, republic country, that is India, independent country, self-governing country. Fine. I think up to here you do not have any doubt. So Britishers were trying to give the formation of a Constituent Assembly. M.N. Roy Sahab give the idea. Indian National Congress also officially demanded that there is a requirement of the Constituent Assembly. Now, in March 1942, a mission came, and that mission is known as Cripps Mission. That time what happens, World War II was going on. Cripps Sahab told, once World War II is over, we are promising we will establish the Constituent Assembly. It's okay, no problem. We can understand that Britain is involved in World War II. The whole mindset is towards the winning of that World War II. So British are told, once this World War II is over now, we will establish the Independent Constituent Assembly. Trust us. Who told? Cripps Mission. Why Cripps Mission? Because the head of the Cripps Mission was Sir Cripps. Fine. Now, what happens before that? This Cripps Mission was rejected. This Cripps Mission was rejected by Congress. It was rejected by Congress and Muslim League. Now, if you see the previous slide, you will be happy that someone is saying that once World War II is over, we will establish the Independent Constituent Assembly. So up to here, you will think that it was a very, very good. This mission was a good. But no, my dear friend, this mission was not a good. Why? Because it was rejected by Congress and Muslim League. Sir, why Muslim League rejected? Because Muslim League demanded formation of Pakistan. They want Pakistan. And this Cripps Mission is not talking about the formation of Pakistan. So that's why Muslim League rejected. Sir, why Congress rejected? Congress rejected because they told, Cripps Mission told, if any province don't want to become the part of independent India or don't want to become the part of India, don't want to become the part of the Constitution of India, they can declare or they can make their independent country. What it means? It means Cripps Mission is basically talking about the partition or giving the blueprint of partition. Suppose Bengal is a province, Punjab is a province. So they want to declare independent. So Cripps Mission say if you want to remain independent, independent, no problem. So Congress rejected on the behalf of this because this mission is talking about the partition and they don't want partition. So that's why this cabinet mission was a failure mission. This was a failure. Why? Because Muslim League also reject this and Congress also reject this. Clear? Now, on 2nd September 19, what happens? World War II ended. When World War II ended, what it means? Now, as Britishers promise that we will try to establish the Independent Constituent Assembly. So almost after 2 weeks, what happens? On 19th September 1945, that time Lord Wavell, they announced the central and provincial elections between 1945 to January 46, and what happens? Elections happens. Now after that, what happens? Another mission came in India on March 1946. What is the date? March 1946. Why this mission is called by the name of cabinet mission? Because this mission consists of 3 people. All 3 are Britishers, but these 3 are cabinet ministers. These are cabinet ministers. Cabinet ministers of England, of Britain, not of India. Fine. They came and they told that total number of seats in the Constituent Assembly will be 389. The total number of seats will be 389. Out of this 389, 296 will come from the British Indian provinces and 93 will come from the princely state. Agree? Total number of seats is 389. Out of this 389, 296 came from the British Indian province and 93 from the princely state. Apart from this, cabinet mission also told another thing, that this 296 seat will be elected. The members will be come, 296 members will be come from election, and these 93 on the basis of nomination. Who is going to nominate? Prince of that princely state. And here is the election. Now what happens after that? Election happens because these 93 seats are for the nomination. So on 296 seat election happens, and what happens in this election? Indian National Congress got 208, Muslim League got 73, and others, maybe independent or other political party, they got the 15 seats. Clear? Total seat 389. Out of 389, 93 will come from the nomination and 296 will be come from the election. And Indian National Congress got maximum seat 208, Muslim League 73, and others are 15. Now, you are having one doubt, sir, how the members of Constituent Assembly was selected. Suppose in princely states, members will be come from the nomination. So let us do not talk about the princely state. Let us talk about the province. In province, you can take any example. For example, Sindh is a province, Madras, Bombay, Bengal. So in province, what happens? There is a people, just like you and me. And these peoples are going to vote for the member of provincial assembly, and once this member is elected, so these members are going to elect the member of the Constituent Assembly. What it means? From here to here, you can say that this is nothing but direct election. This is direct election. So the members of the provincial assembly, they come from the direct election, and after that these members are going to elect the member of the Constituent Assembly. Fine. I think up to here you do not have any doubt. So the story starts with the Montagu Declaration 1917, and ultimately it is going to end with the help of the cabinet mission. So in starting they are talking about we will increase the numbers of Indian in the administration, and now India is towarding the self-government. Fine, everything happens, and now another important question comes, that first meeting of Constituent Assembly. Date. It has been asked in so many examinations, even in SSC also. You have to remember, my dear friend, the date was 9th December 1946. First meeting. Now you are having one doubt, sir, total number of seats is 389. Some members will come from nomination, some members will be elected. So how many members actually attended? So this is also very important. So remember, my dear friend, 211 members attended. What it means? Some members are not participated. Who are these members? Obviously Muslim League, because their dream is of Pakistan. Every time they are talking about, dreaming about the Pakistan. And the princely state, the seats, the members which came from the nomination. Now who participated? Indian National Congress 208, and some others member they attended. And who is not participated or attended? Muslim League 73, they do not participated, and the princely state, they do not participated. Clear? Now apart from this, another important question, who was elected as the provisional chairman of the Constituent Assembly? So that time the Indian Constituent Assembly, they are following the tradition of France, and they pick up the old man, that is the Dr. Sachidanand Sinha, and this person was elected as the provisional chairman of the Constituent Assembly. And apart from this, there is a one important point, Constituent Assembly had 11 sessions. This is also asked question. How many sessions? 11 sessions, covering a total of 165 days.